What up, YouTube? This is Carlos Talamantes here, back again. So, I decided to just jump right into this, but I'm gonna unveil a secret deck that I've been working on for a while. And I wasn't gonna do this, but after a while, I just realized that, I just don't have enough time to really continue to work on it. But I did take this to a tournament. It went X1, and this deck is crazy. It really is. And so, like I said, I kept this under wraps for a while, but I decided to just share it with everybody. It is Chimera branded NEOS, and you guys might be thinking like, man, that's crazy. It's like, but I'm gonna explain to you guys a combo and how this deck can work together. So let's hop into it. This is gonna get crazy. So first off, you got one Stratos, you got one Blazeman, one Shadow Mist, Liquid, two Spirits, one NEOS. Then for your NEOS patients, you have, and these are super important. It more so has to be these three, and I'll explain why in a second. So talking about this package right here, this Blazeman is to have a monster route to get to a fusion play. These two are because you want to keep a spirit in your deck. If you draw this, it's not nearly as bad as drawing this, but the way that the engines mesh together, this ratio seems to work fine with me. I'm gonna touch more on these the more and more I get through with this deck profile, but let's see. So this is where we get started with the branded stuff. With the Chimera stuff. So 3 Cornfield, 3 Mirror Sword, then you got 3 of the Gazelle, then 2 of the Berfament. Now this is standard, but let me see. So this is essentially standard for all the Chimera decks, but again, I'm going to go into more detail on how they work together. Lastly, for the 2 monsters, the branded part of it is 2 Fallen of Albaz. Now onto the spells. You got 3 Hero Lifts. Then you got 3 Engaged Neo Space. This card does so much for the deck. It leads to your turn skip. It leads to bridging the parts of the different parts of the engine because it searches polymerization. It's so hard to explain, but I can show you guys better. So at the end of this, I'm gonna do a little combo, and you guys will hopefully be able to understand a little bit more my thought process with the deck. 1 Ian Shuffle. This does come up. It is actually needed for the combo. Then, because you're playing a fusion deck and you're locked into fusions through this guy, through branded fusion, through this. You're locked into fusions. So, one thing, triple super poly, amazing card right now. Polymerization, and then to go along with the double Albaz, you have 3 branded fusions, and this card is so important. And I can explain more why. Honestly, I wish I had more than one video to really dive deep into this, because this deck is totally not straightforward. This deck is more like, the more you practice with it, the more you're gonna get rewarded for it. Then I got 2 Chimera Fusions, and lastly, the Favorite Contact. Okay, so this is extremely necessary because of because your goal is to rip 3 cards out of the hand, have multiple disruptions, and turn skip them all in the same turn. So this is needed at least at once. So this can either be NEOS Fusion, or it can be this card. But you need this for the additional name. This is searchable. Let's see. These are important because one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that your Chimera stuff can actually dump your Dark Panther. So, aw, my baby. So your Chimera stuff, because this is a beast, it could be foolish by your Chimera stuff. So I'm gonna go deeper into this. I'm gonna go into this extra deck, and then I'm gonna get right to the combos because I feel like I can explain that a little bit better. Let's see. So along with the extra deck, now this extra deck is a little bit more experimental, but I'll show you guys different cards that I was testing out and different cards that fluctuate. So you got one chimera, then you got Guardian Chimera, and then this card. This card right here is the reason why, one of the reasons why this is so, why they can work together. This gets you one of your names. I had two of these in here for the better grind game, but I decided to cut down on 1-to-1 just to make sure I could fit in the branded stuff and the super poly stuff. So if you decide not to play super poly, you want to go more of a hand trap route, then you can cut the super poly, then you can cut the super poly targets and fill in the rest of the space. So lastly, next we got the branded engine. So when I first started playing the deck, I didn't feel like this was as needed. Branded Fusion, of course, but I didn't feel like this was needed. But the more and more I played it, the more and more I realized that this card is just insane. There's so many plays that you can just send, get your hero engine online, and then fuse like Liquid and NEOS from your hand and get your interruptions that way with the Infernal Rage. It's really, really crazy. Then also, like, say, for example, if you end up having a Mirror Sword Knight that you want to fuse off, you know, that's really good too. Like I said, this deck is not exactly straightforward, you know, minus the Cornfield card. You know, the Chimera stuff, it kind of plays itself, but everything else, when you're mixing it in, you really got to think about everything. You know, so that's, I guess, one drawback from the deck, but it's very rewarding because the amount of different plays and variety that this deck can do is just insane. So Infernal Rage, Sunrise, Aqua Neos, Shining Wingman, the turn skip card. You do bring this out. This is the goal of the deck. And then lastly right here, you have Magnum the Reliever. You have Garua, King of Swamp. And this is the 16th card. I kept this out right here so that way you guys can see one of the cards that ends up fluctuating inside the extra deck. If you wanted to play this card, then one of the cards that you could probably cut is either Reliever, which I wouldn't recommend, but I guess you can cut a Sunrise. So that being said, you would take out Miracle Fusion if you want to just focus on your turn one, keeping the Aqua Neos in. Or if you feel like, you know, hey, ripping two cards out of the hand is good enough, then, you know, cut the Aqua Neos and just keep this and then play this, you know, so that way you have 3 super poly targets. So, all right, guys, so time to get into the combo of it, because I know everybody's, you know, wondering like, okay, how does this deck work? So I'm going to give you guys, you know, the best combo of the deck, so that way you guys can see the potential of this deck. You know, so this can obviously be either any Neospatian, or it can be Shadow Mist. Or if you wanted to, it can be a Hero List. It can be a Hero List. There's just so much variety of what you could do. Or Branded Fusion. It doesn't have to be Branded Fusion. What it can be is it can either be, you know, any one of these 6. Because these are all 1-card starters. So, my opinion, this isn't the best part of the best combo necessarily. It does give you the most on your end board, but you keep more hand advantage if you just open up with one of these. So, I guess I'll show you both. So I'm gonna put these back, and you guys will be able to see in a few seconds. Let's see. All right. So, for the sake of, because I'm not going to do more of these videos, I'm going to just explain to you guys some of the better combos. So, you can start off with Branded Fusion. And like I said, you know, there's another version that I had that had a Luber, and the card that special summons it from deck. But I decided to cut it just to have more space for other things. So Brand Infusion, you obviously send those two. Sorry guys, I'm not used to playing it upside down. So you send those two. You search the cornfield. You summon the, you pitch the cornfield. Oh, you get the Rimbrum. Then you get the Mirror Sword Knight. Where you at? Sorry guys, looking for my Mirror Sword Knight. Oh, there it goes. So you normal summon it. You tribute. Baphomet. Yeah, Gazelle. And then you add the Chimera Fusion. So as I said before, you have this and this in hand. And say you had 2 regular cards, right? So this is your hand. Sorry guys, my baby's all playing right now. So this is your hand. And one of the important things that I really wanted to explain about this combo is that you maintain hand advantage as you go. So, Chimera Fusion. So if you opened up the cornfield, you can end up triggering this, but you ended up triggering it earlier because of the Brand Infusion. So you go, and you rip 1 card out of the hand. So that's 1. You end up getting back your negate, and you add back the Chimera Fusion. So what I want to bring to light right here is that throughout this whole turn skip combo, you already set up a soft negate right here from targeting, and you have a negate for the effect, and you've already ripped out a card out of your hand to protect your turn skip. So then following through, you want to activate your NEOS Engage now that you have protection. Then, so in this case, you always want to send Grand Mole, because with these two, you could send the Dark Panther off of the Chimera stuff, and you could special summon Wake Up. You could special summon Wake Up to get the Aqua Dolphin if need be, if you end up throwing the Wake Up in. So those are 2 in-engine ways to get these cards out, so that way you can have your 3rd Neospatian. So that being said, what you're going to end up getting out of this is you're going to end up getting Spirit, the Poly, and then you're also going to get an Ian Shuffle. Oh, and on top of that, you're going to end up getting the Liquid. So what I want to point out again, you did all this stuff already, and you still have 6 cards in hand, you have board presence, and you have the negate. So you got to tag out for this. You bring out your NEOS. You're going to go Polymerization. Fuse these. For Infernal Rage. You go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, so that way you don't draw into the favorite contact. So as you guys can see, it's already starting to unravel. So draw 2 random cards, discard 1, doesn't matter. Then you tribute. So from here you have an option. You have an option whether to either hit another card out of the hand or create follow-up. Or create follow-up with Sunrise. So you can end up searching Miracle to add to your hand advantage even more. So for the sake of this, you can end up knocking a card out of your hand. So that's 2 cards that you can knock out, right? But for now, I'm just gonna go Sunrise, just so that way you guys can see the bigger hand size. Oh, no, sorry. I forgot I just swapped out the Miracle Fusion. So you can hit a card right here. That's 2 cards you knocked out. Then from here, you want to activate the Ian Shuffle that you searched out. Return this to the action deck. So you can special summon Aqua Dolphin. Pitch random card out of the hand. And this is why I said that opening up the cornfield is kind of better than opening up the brand infusion. Because with the brand infusion, you end up getting one less card, but you end up getting more of a board presence. But with the cornfield, you end up actually having more cards in your hand. So when you're pitching these cards, you end up keeping a bigger hand size. So this is already 3 cards that you knocked out of the hand. Then you want to set these. So worst case scenario, your opponent has already lost 3 cards out of the hand. Then they have to play around the Super Poly. Then they have to play around your favorite contact. So this is how it's going to play out. This is what makes the deck insane. So on their turn, you tribute the Mirror Sword Knight. As soon as draw phase happens, you end up getting the Chimera Fusion because you end up getting the Baphomet. So this is in hand. So automatically, your Super Poly is live. And then, oh, sorry, Papa. So automatically your Super Poly is live, and you activate Chimera Fusion. Chimera Fusion. Fuse these two, so that way you can set up for your banish play for the Baphomet. Oh no, Papa. So from here, you send your Dark Panther. Then you flip favorite contact on their turn. No. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You return these back to the deck. These 4. For Cosmo NEOS. So all this, you turn skipped them, you knock 3 cards out of the hand, they have to play around this Super Poly, you still have follow-up right here. And on top of that, you have the Chimera engraved to special summon your stuff back. Well guys, so that was the deck profile. There's so much more that I can cover with this deck, but there's just not enough time. I realize that I'm just too busy to hold around a lot of these extra cards. Come here, Papa. Come here. Come on, Dada. So, so I realize that I'm too busy to hold around a lot of these cards. So I'm gonna end up moving them, just because I can end up not playing for like 2-3 weeks, and then things fluctuate in price. So I'm just gonna stick to more so pure hero builds. But I wanted to send this video out just so that way, if anybody else wants to, further build on it, it's a really good deck. Yes, it does take a lot more thought and a lot more patience, but it's very rewarding. So just give me a shout out if you guys end up doing well with it. But all right, guys, God bless.